To everybody watching, we are very excited here to be back in Detroit and delivered once again. Some very exciting racing, especially by these three to the right of me. A couple quick announcements before we get started. So, rules of the room. We've talked about it before with the press. State your name, your affiliation, and then do one question. If you can keep it to one question, and then we want to get everybody to have a chance. So ask your question. We'll come back to you later on if we have time. We should have time. We normally do, but keep that in mind. Let's see. Historic night for Triumph making their Supercross debut. Jalik Swoll finishing sixth on the night. Evan Ferry, unfortunately, crashing out, waiting for an update on his status. Evan was checked out by Alpine Stars, and it sounds like he is okay. So that is great news. Up here, we have Ken Roxon, Chase Sexton, and Jet, third, second, and first. Let's give them a big round of applause for this main event in Detroit. And Chase, I'm going to go with Chet. I want to give you a bit of a softball here, man. Some redemption for you. I know the past few rounds have been kind of rough a little bit. So how does it feel to get on the top step once again like you did in A1?
No, it definitely feels nice. It's been a rough couple of weeks on the riding side of things, and I was obviously off the bike. But, no, it helps make these wins even sweeter, and it's a good bit of motivation, you know.
Yeah, you and Kenny both mentioned the track was breaking down, getting tough, and you said there were 2 times that were kind of scary for you. Can you bring us through those?
Oh yeah, I thought it was my time those 2 times, but luckily it wasn't yet. So no, it's was scary. I think my main big one that I had where I winded myself onto that tabletop, I found out my shifter was hitting the rut when I go to seat bounce, so it'd kind of go into like neutral because I was in first gear. So that was a scary one, and I was able to fix that. Then the other one was just took a different line. This wasn't fully switched on and kind of endoed the whiskey throttle. Thankfully, we were able to kind of keep it on 2 wheels and bring it home after that. It was just kind of doubling almost through things. So, no, it was nice to bring it back home.
Oh, it's a testament to your control, man. Well done. All right, let's open it up to the media here. Let's start. Dan Beaver.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports for Kenny. On that first turn, how much of, you said you were a little, not tentative, but didn't go in as hard as you might have. How much of that was what happened last week when you went out, and how much was it what happened in the 250 race with Cameron washing out?
Well, the 250 race, I think they just lock bars on the straightaway. So then, once you start shooting right, you take out everybody next to you. But for me, no, I got off the start okay, and even into the first turn. But somebody on the inside, and I think it was Jason Anderson, got just a little bit of a wheel on me. So then when they dive in deep, I have to really check up, because if I turn too soon, I'll hit his rear wheel and just go down again. So I really had to check up and just let everybody by. And then, the first turn, people bouncing left and right, we almost had to roll the whole thing. And then I ended up being mid-pack. And it's tough to get to the very front when you're that far back right off the bat, So I just, I don't know. I just have been getting a little unlucky in the first turn, or just not good enough of a jump to actually dive in there and come around, in top 3.
Scott Yarjo, Moto Now blog. Jet, it's been a couple crazy weeks. It's kind of a 2-part question. First, we've seen you hit the ground a lot in the last few weeks. Are you feeling sore from that? And then secondly, the negative reactions from the crowd just kind of generally over the last few weeks. How do you deal with that mentally?
Well, thankfully, I'm still pretty young, so the recovery time's fairly quickly. But that's just noise. It's a lot of people have had it before, and it's not like it's the first time it's ever happened in the sport. So it is what it is. Just helps, little motivational stuff, kind of wanting to go out and do good. And obviously the past few weeks haven't been quite the best with the results, and it's kind of making silly decisions and kind of wanting to win so bad. So this kind of cost me a few mistakes, and this kind of reset tonight, and just kind of go back to my old ways of trying to get a good start and just hit my marks.
Victoria Beaver, Sports Illustrated's Auto Racing Digest for Chase. What does it mean to get, without getting the win, get the red plate this week, and how do you look to hold on to that?
Yeah, it's nice to have the red plate, but it really only matters is the person who ends with it. So it's nice to have it back. We're all pretty close in points, but tonight was one of my best rides on the new bike. I think we've had so many mud races last weekend with a Triple Crown, and this weekend was our first real main event, and I felt pretty solid in the conditions. I didn't have a great heat race, and after seeing the 250 start, I was pretty far outside, and I was a little bit nervous if I didn't get a good jump, I was going to get pushed off the track. So I got a good start, and I had some good speed, some mistakes, obviously, but it was a good main event, and looking forward to build off that.
Andrea Ruggiero with Moto Now Blog. This one's for Ken. The whoops so far have been limited to 9, and they're shorter and easier than they have been in the past. You're a rider that's normally pretty good in the whoops, so what are your feelings about this change?
Well, it depends. You always got to look at the track conditions. The whoops, yes, they were small and fairly flat, but they get so cupped out, and they can be treacherous either way. Nonetheless, I've been feeling super comfortable in them, and even in the main, I skimmed them for most of the main, and so that's when you feel comfortable in the whoops, it just makes everywhere else on the track easier, and you just feel more comfortable and get in a much better flow. So also for me tonight, I think was one of the best rides and the most fun that I've had.
Jim Kimball with Motocross Action for Chase Sexton. Chase, you're riding, you've kind of been consistently at the front, very consistent. Has your riding changed a bit? Whereas it's not, maybe you make a big mistake like you might have in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I think starting off the season, I definitely lacked speed, but the last however many weeks, I've been getting faster and faster, and we'll definitely get back to the speed I had last year. Just it takes a little bit of time getting to know a new bike and what works and what doesn't, but overall, I feel very stable on the bike. I feel happy. It's a lot different, and like I've said before, it just takes a lot to get used to. So we'll keep getting better and get some of that speed back that we had last year.
Jeff Beaver, Whiskey Throttle Media. This question is for Chase. This is pretty much hometown race for you, kind of split between here and Indy. But can you tell us, like, as a kid growing up, coming up here and coming to the races, and now to be on the podium and get the red plate here, what is that like for you?
Yeah, this race it's not really a home race for me. I have St. Louis and Indy are a little bit closer, but it's just nice to be back in the cold air. I said yesterday I went to dinner with Dunge. I'm like, man, it just feels nice to breathe cold air. Like it's refreshing, and it's pretty close to where I've done a lot of amateur races, and it does feel a little bit like home. Just like I said, being in it's kind of the Midwest. We're more north, but yeah, it feels homey, and looking forward to Indy and obviously St. Louis.
Jamie Guida.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. Kenny, I think you came out of the first lap in 9th place, worked your way up to 3rd, obviously. Talk about the track conditions. It seemed like that rhythm after the mechanics row was very important to get that over the table. It seemed like the best route, but just, overall track conditions and how it affected you.
Yeah, totally. That one was a key section. I think I missed it once or twice, and it really bites you because getting over that tabletop, you're taking off from a little curb, right? So you really have to get in. The pocket is super tight, so anytime I would over jump it by like an inch, I would kind of have to seat bounce it. But if you just over jump it a little bit more, it's like you almost couldn't do it. So missing that, you go double after and you jump off the 5-footer, so you're just losing a lot of time. But other than that, from my side personally, I that was probably the only mistake or 2 mistakes that I did was not getting that. And then, obviously with track conditions like this too, later in the race and lappers, the lap times were a lot shorter. So it just felt like we were starting to hit lappers in the pack of 4. And that just really tears the field apart. You can get lucky and whatnot, but that really tears the field apart a little bit. And I think that's where, for me personally, I just kind of lost a little bit of touch and was in no man's land then. And with it getting gnarlier and gnarlier, I just ended up, wanting to bring it home on the podium and not do a silly mistake. And because after the last few weekends as well, it's, I've been riding really well, but my results haven't been there. So I didn't want to lose any more points than I already did. And luckily with some of the results that I've had, the point gap is really not that bad. I feel like in the years past, I would have been 60 points down by now, and it's like 20 or 21. So it's really, it was just nice to be back on the podium. And with these conditions, it can bite you so quick. You can hit your marks 20 laps in a row and then make one little mistake, and it can all be done.
All right, thank you.
Kellen Brower.
Thanks, Kellen Brower with RacerX. Chase, for you, kind of piggybacking on what Ken just talked about with the track. You guys did 28 laps tonight, and for you kind of made a couple runs at Jet and then eventually settled back into second. Can you just talk about the mental and physical balance of trying to fight the track but also trying to fight forward?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a chess game. I was good in the beginning, and then Jet kind of got away, and I started picking up on some of his lines, and I started making a little bit of a run and got really cross-started in the whoops, and that was kind of all I had. So, or not all I had, it was kind of over at that point. So I was, it was a good race, and when you see, I know he was trying to manage the race, and I wanted to make a little bit of a charge and make him uncomfortable, and I made a mistake in the meantime. So it was, like I said, the track was really gnarly. It was almost kind of like Indy feeling. It's maybe a little bit harder, but the softest Detroit that I've ever raced, definitely. So it was a fun track, and the layout was kind of basic, but it got pretty difficult towards the end, and the whoops were pretty technical. So overall, fun race, and happy to be on the podium, but looking forward to making some more progress.
Nick Still.
Yeah, thank you. Nick Still, MotoOnline.com. This will be for Jet. Jet, on the broadcast, you mentioned, Jet Lawrence showed up tonight. What's the biggest differences from this to, the past 2 weeks for you?
I think the biggest difference for me is more this is my decision kind of making. Being the past few weeks have just been kind of not as good, and so I think that's when I mean kind of like Jet Lawrence, mean like more up here Jet Lawrence, not so much riding side of things, because my speed's been not too bad, but it's just more poor executing and that stuff. So yeah, I think what I mean by that, it's more kind of performance side of thing less, and then more just kind of mentally, kind of decision wise.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Brad Gephardt.
Thanks, Brad Gephardt, Verb Moto. Let's stick with Jet here. What changes have you made to the motorcycle in the last 5 weeks, if any?
From if you went from A1 till now, it's been quite a big change. We came into A1 with being pretty stiff. So, and we went a lot softer, but obviously we haven't really got to test it out much because the last few rounds have been pretty muddy, and then obviously A2 we got to test it out a bit and felt really, really good. But it was nice to kind of come to a track that had traction and would pull the bike in, because then our other setting would work a lot better. So it's good learning for me to learn this 450. It's a tough bike to learn, just with all that motor. So it's a cool learning curve for me. The team's been great. Been working really hard, so it's nice to get this win, especially in these rough conditions. And shout out to Derek for doing our suspension and kind of getting us set up good. So yeah.
All right, thanks.
Jonathan McCready.
Question for Ken. Ken, you've had the speed probably to be on the podium every week so far, but the results aren't there. How frustrating has that been over the first month of the season, and does your experience help you deal with that better, or is it still frustrating you?
It's definitely frustrating, but it's not for the lack of effort, and that's why I hold my head high. On the racing side of things, there's stuff that can happen in the first turn. There's so much going on, right? It doesn't always have to be your fault, but in the end, no matter where I find myself, whether I'm a half a lap down or just in the back of the pack, every time I pick up my bike or whatever the problem was, I go back out and try to get to the front until the checkered flag flies, and I never give up. So I've been dealing with it really well. Of course, I always want to do better and be on the podium, because after all that work, like, I deserve it, the team deserves it. But that just, I'm not the kind of guy that plays the I can't catch a break type thing. It's just part of racing, and like I said, this season is really long and so much racing to go. And just like how I had a streak of, if you want to call it bad luck, that can happen to anybody. And we fought our way back to the podium, and I know we got everything that it takes to be on the top step. But at least, before I think about winning all the time, I want to get some consistency in and being on the podium. I really want to make up a bit of points and maybe towards the lead, but also in general, I think I'm still 8th or something like that. So I just really want to get a little bit further up to the front in the point standings. And so yeah, it's been totally fine. Like, I haven't really pounded my head in the sand, because I have the most fun on the motorcycle, and I have a super good motorcycle, and I enjoy the racing side of things. So I've held my head high.
Thank you.
Mr. Bridges.
All right, Bridges, Supercross Live. Jet, we're celebrating the 50th year Supercross this year, and yeah, you only have 2 wins in the 450 Supercross class, but you have 42 total wins in AMA and racing, and that actually ties you with Mark Barnett and Jeff Emig inside the top 15 now. Now, as far as the 50th year Supercross, what are some of these names and the history of the sport mean to you and your family as you do your part to climb up the all-time standings?
Yeah, personally, it's awesome to kind of be up there with all those greats. Sadly, my history knowledge in sport's not the best because I was more focused on playing with friends when it was Supercross night. But no, it's definitely an honor being up with those names. It's cool to see that I'm slowly climbing up that board and racking them wins up. But no, looking forward to kind of to the end of my career, kind of seeing where I finish up at. So hopefully we have a good, healthy career. But no, it's definitely cool to see those names up there and be up among them.
Awesome. Dan?
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports again for Jet. You're now 2 for 2 in regular format, dry track races, and both of the wins have been fairly dominant. Do you feel that's do you feel the momentum shift, or are you still thinking that there's a lot of parity going on?
Sorry, what was that last bit then?
That there's a lot of leveling of the field going on, a lot of parity.
No, yeah, for sure. It's the field is very stacked this year. Everyone's fairly close in speed, so I think the biggest thing is for me is just kind of getting those consistency and consistent starts really, and just always being up there. It's a long Supercross season, so yeah, no, it's definitely hopefully it switches sides a little bit and I start getting in a bit of a kind of groove and rhythm. But we'll obviously see. We're going from such different kind of track conditions, from here being really soft, rutted out, kind of slower pace, technical, and then we're going to go to Arizona now where it's going to be pretty hard and dry, and it's going to be going Mach 10. So it's going to be an exciting learning curve. But no, I think the biggest thing is just trying to stay consistent. And I'll be very happy with this consistent starts and consistent podiums.
Haley?
Thank you. Haley from Race Day Live. This question's for Jet. Sometimes our performances, our race results, it's to prove something to ourselves, and other times it's to prove something to other people. So was that the case tonight? If so, which one was it, or maybe a combination?
No, it's obviously always good to get a win for yourself. The other side of things, it would be nice. You'd like to know, wouldn't you? But no, it's for the team, for me. So yeah.
Jonathan McCready, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, just for Jet, you had a battle with Jason Anderson, Jet, in the heat race. Were you a bit nervous in some of them corners, and how was that for you? And also your starts were really good tonight. Did you make any changes with the bike?
Yeah, no, it's that heat race was fun with Jason. It's I tried making sure I didn't show my respect in the racing, and with him, with his previous racing, obviously I was trying to mentally think, okay, yeah, just getting this right, but for some reason my body was being very cautious to the inside. But no, he rode good that heat race. It was a fun battle. It was really fun going back and forth with him. When it's racing like that, I'd rather do that or moto with Jason because it's a fun way to race. Oh, and the starts, yeah. We've done a few starts during the week and kind of changed a few things, yes.
Scott Yarjo, Moto Now blog. Chase, we obviously had a different schedule today. You had more time between the heat races and the main than you normally would. Does that change your routine at all? And also, did the early start to the day also impact you?
Yeah, the heat races being us first or even qualifying, it was really weird. I haven't done that. I mean, I've only been in this class for 4 years now, but it feels really foreign to me going first in the heat races. I didn't really like how much lag time we had between heat and main. I feel like I hadn't been on the track in about 4 hours, but it wasn't that long. It just kind of felt that way. And the track changed from heat races to the main, obviously a lot, but even more being first and then going last. But I don't know. I was actually thinking if they're going to run us first in the heat race, we're going to go first in the main, but that wasn't the case. So I don't know. It was kind of weird, and I kind of want to go back to how it was before.
All right. Jamie Guida.
I've got two if we have time, Dan.
We do for you, bud.
Okay. First one's for Chase Sexton. With the struggles that you kind of felt just a few weeks before Supercross Series started, and where you're at now, how confident are you in your championship capabilities at this point with the bike and everything?
Definitely getting there this week. Like I said, I only rode one day, but we did a day of testing, and I made big improvements, especially in the whoops. I think my whoops today were a lot better, even though the whoops got beat down in the main event. In practice, I was better. So that was kind of my biggest task this week, was getting better in those. And I've, like I said, it's just kind of a guess and test with this new bike. You don't really know what works and what doesn't. And I feel like my mentality is kind of going a different way than they've gone in the past as the team. So, but they've been awesome working together and definitely heading in the right direction. And this tonight was big confidence boost, even though I didn't win, as my riding was a lot better. And after that heat race, I was pretty pissed off. So I'm looking forward to next weekend. But yeah, we're making steps in the right direction.
All right, Jet, the other one's for you. With 5 races down now in your 450 pro career, are you at all surprised, or does anything stand out about the way racers in the 450 class race you differently than maybe the 250 class? You had a really good battle with Jason in the heat race. Does anything seem different than the 250 class?
I think in the 450 class, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable going down the rhythm next to someone. Like with Jace, I can go down even through the whoops. It was nice to go down next to him and kind of be pretty relaxed with him just there, because I know he's very good in the whoops. So it's it definitely kind of makes it more of a comfort side thing like that than I play 250. 250, you don't really know what you're going to get, but no, a lot of the 250 guys now are getting better and better, and it's obviously you see a lot more exciting racing. So it's always cool to see that than since I've been there, but no, it's I like racing the 450. They race good, they race hard, and it's good learning for me.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Last one for Scott.
Scott Yarger, Moto Now blog. Jet, the rhythm after the finish line, we saw in practice qualifying, you were downsloping the table, quadding in. Did that seem feasible at all? Was that faster? And then secondly, did you ever consider quadding into the rhythm before the whoops, like into the corner? The first part, I just kind of tried it for another line, really, because I kind of obviously knew this track was going to get beat down pretty hard. So if it's another rhythm of staying out of those deep ruts, and it gives me a bit more of a safer kind of route, you could say, through that rhythm in a way. So I definitely thought of it, but obviously the ruts got pretty gnarly in that up ramp, so it's kind of harder to do it. And then before the whoops, I never really thought of it. I obviously would have liked to, but it was just not the right place and not the right dirt to do it. I knew I probably would have got it once when it was fresh, maybe, but then in the main I wouldn't be really doing it at all. So it's yeah.
All right. Well, I think we had 52,961 people in attendance, and you entertained every single one of them. So for the podium, one more time, please give it up. Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, and Ken Roxon. .250 podium coming up. All right, we're going to get started here. We're waiting on Austin Fortner. As soon as he gets in, we'll let you ask some questions. If he makes it, we'll see what's going on with him. I think part of his camp is here. Here he is right now, Austin Fortner, as he makes a rundown. Big round of applause. Austin Forkser, Max Anstey, and Daxton Bennick. Nice job. Very entertaining by the 250 East for the debut run here for 2024 in Detroit. And I'll start with you, Austin Fortner. Big podium for these guys, but a huge win for you. We talked to you in December just about some of the struggles you've gone through. It's well known how much you've struggled. Tremendous amount of struggle and injuries and some bad luck. And so you talked about changing your attitude. You mentioned it on the podium tonight, but you talked about it in December. And now you have proof that you really did, right? You don't know until you race. Can you talk a little bit about that change you made mentally to be here today and take this win?
I mean, not only mentally, but I made a change to my program this year. I started working with Rhino and Charles Dow off the bike. And, I mean, I feel like I just made it kind of a point to surround myself with people who, are there to lift me up, basically. I feel like that's just really important in this sport. You can have one good race and be on top of the world, and then you can you can have a bad one and get so down. So having people around you that keep you on the right track and keep you focused on what you need to be focused on, I think is really important. I've done that this year. Also, kind of the mental change was just trying to have more fun riding. Obviously, anybody knows with injuries in any sport, doing anything, it takes you don't want to do it as much. You start being scared of what you fell in love with, essentially, and that being dirt bikes for me. And to ride a dirt bike scared at this level is you can't do it. So just keeping the whole preseason thing fun. We did our work. I think that shows with the whole team and with obviously me and the guys that I train with. But I feel like we did quality work over quantity so much, and we kept it fun and kept me in a good, mental space coming into this season. And I think it shows.
Wow. Show wire to wire. It showed. Well done. Congratulations. That was brilliant. Let's go to Andre.
Yeah, Andrea Ruggiero, Moto Now blog. This one's for Daxton. We heard last week from the 250 West guys that you were flying on the test track, you were going really fast, and they had a lot of faith in you coming into this. How true was that for you, and how much confidence did you have coming into your first 250 Supercross?
Yeah, for sure. I get to practice with the best guys on the West, so I was definitely going fast to the test track, but that's one thing, racing's a completely different thing, and I didn't know how it would be on Saturday. Like, the nerves were high for sure, and I knew I just had to keep calm, and we had that replica at the farm, so I just had to, imagine I was at the farm, and, once I got, I think, into fourth, I saw Chance in third, and I just started laying my laps down. Like, I felt really strong at the end, so that was also a thing. I didn't know if I was going to be strong at the end of the moto because I've never raced a full, pro moto, so I checked that box. I'm really happy with it.
Dan
Beaver, NBC Sports for Austin. Great start. First of all, welcome back. Great start there. Were you aware of what happened behind you? Obviously, you're a little bit ahead of it. If so, did that occur to you at all while you were riding? And then afterwards, did you get a chance to compare and contrast that first turn last year to the first turn this year?
Yeah, I heard it going in. Whenever, we started braking, I could hear, tires grinding and bikes clanking, and I knew that there was some sort of a pileup, or else guys just got really sketchy. And then whenever I came around, there were still guys down. I think both of my teammates were still down, and I saw KTM. I think I had to weave. I should have went inside of them. I went outside of them, and that's why I feel like this win was so special to me, because I was there last year. I was there. I blew my knee out. I was done for the season last year. In a very similar deal, except it was just me. But so as the same mindset as I had last year, my mindset right after was, that may not have happened if I got a better start. That's still my mindset this year, just it flipped, and hey, I'm glad that I got a good start so that didn't happen. It's just I mean, it's kind of just come full circle as far as that. It just flip-flopped basically. So that's kind of still my kind of thought process was get a good start so stuff like that doesn't happen. And you saw how that worked for me last year and how obviously that benefited me tonight.
Scott Yarja, Moto Now blog. Austin, how much of that race was managing the lead versus like riding forward and pushing hard? It seemed like once Max got into second, you maybe put down a few laps and like made your lead even bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I knew Max was going to be strong. He threw down some fast laps in practice too. So I knew he was going to be fast. So whenever I think it was Hymas behind me for a while, rookie. I figured that I figured that he would be fast in the beginning, but he would probably either start getting tired and making mistakes or just get tired, period. Like that's typically that is what happens when you're a rookie year. That just is what happens. So I kind of figured I was just kind of putting down my laps in the beginning. The track was fresh, so it was a lot easier to put down laps. I tried to throw down some fast ones in the beginning where in the heat race with the track, it was pretty tore up. It was kind of sketchy to you had to figure out what lines had kickers, what lines were deep, what lines weren't. Where for our main, it was fresh. So you could kind of just go wherever you wanted to. So I kind of took advantage of that and tried to throw down some laps, but not get too, go type of a mentality. Just kind of try to keep it under control, keep it in myself. And, then I started to gap him just a little bit, and I saw Max got into second, and I was like, okay, I probably should throw down a couple of heaters now, and just try, or at least just try to maintain what it was, like 4 or 5 second lead or whatever. And I kind of did that, and then the last few laps I kind of just backed it off just a little bit and just kind of tried to manage it. But yeah, I mean, these guys were a great race. I had a 5 second lead I think at one point, but I felt like I was kept pretty honest all night, Unfortunate that a lot of guys went down in that first turn, but I don't think this East Coast 250 class is short on talent. If a couple guys go down in the first turn, there's guys that are going to fill their spot. So I think that either way, crash or no crash, it was not an easy night, but a good night.
Jim Kimball, Motocross Action for Max. Max, I think it's really interesting because you probably came in a little underrated into this season. You're on a privateer team. Were formerly primarily a GP rider without a lot of Supercross experience. You won that Supercross round last year, but talk about finishing second in this opening round and what it means.
Of course, for my boss back in over in Australia. For my crew, there's just myself and Dean Wilson. I'm the only 250 guy. I think I was counting, there's 4 guys or 5 guys in the workshop. We've got a couple of engine guys, 2 mechanics, and Martin Davalos. That's it. That's my crew over here. And just to be competitive and be up here with these guys, it's a testament to them. Obviously, it's very easy for a smaller team to bite off more than they can chew, get more guys, or spend more money in the wrong places. But the guys make my race bike very good, and I've got to give them that. My bike is very solid, and that's what you want. If there was 2 of me on the team or 3 of me, we wouldn't have enough stuff. So with the budget we have and what we do, they do a fantastic job. And yeah, we raced the World Supercross and Australia. For them, that's massive and a big deal. So to come into here with a second is fantastic. Everyone's seen what happened to Austin last year, and to see him do what he did tonight is fantastic. It's round 1. It's crazy night. Everyone saw what happened on the start, and the track was super grabby and sticky and like you said, it was kind of nice just to get into a half decent spot on the track and be like, all right, after the heat race, man, J-Mart went down in the whoops in front of me, and I just missed him, and I was literally thinking, wow, like that was insane. Like, I just saw him obviously smack his head on the floor. Not ideal. Hope he's somewhat going to be all right. But yeah, solid night. Nice to do it for my team and be up here mixing it up with the factory boys.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Beaver, Whiskey Throttle Media. This question's for Austin. What are some of the things you worked on with Ryan Hughes that helped elevate your game this season?
I mean, I think it just comes down to what's been my Achilles heel, injuries. You know, obviously it's not rocket science to see that. So we kind of started with just what's going to try to make me a not necessarily a faster rider, because speed's never really been an issue for me. It's been the longevity. It's been maybe some technique things here and there. It's been things that it's been making my riding something that I'm trying to think how to word it. Making my technique something that making my speed something that my technique can handle, I guess, is how. Like, you know, I've always had speed, but maybe my technique couldn't handle that speed. Maybe my speed overpowered my technique. So all these things that have to be kind of in a good place to be up here, to be, you know, one of the best dirt bike riders. I think maybe my speed or my you know, just drive, just do it, go, maybe outweighed some of the smaller things that maybe I needed to work on to try to bring up and to match that speed. Speed was here, but it was overshadowing a lot of other things, which maybe was the reason why I was getting hurt. So I feel like slowing down and working on some of the, you know, the technique things, it's not like crazy. I mean, you can go to Rhino's Instagram and see kind of what he preaches and what he's about, but doing that and getting hands on and working on that stuff, combining with Charles in the gym, and we kind of all, you know, believe in the same thing and understood the program of what we're trying to accomplish this year as far as working technique in, so that, you know, we can try to be there every round.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Kellen Brower.
Thanks, Kellen Brower with RacerX. For you, Austin, you've now had years in the 250 class where you came in as arguably the guy, and you probably should win a lot of races and did, and then you come in off of injuries before as well. So in your own mind, where did you kind of put yourself coming into this year, I guess?
I try to really just focus on myself, and in the heat, in the main, I just tried to, even in qualifying, on press day, I just tried to do what we've been working on at the test track. That's what was constantly being reminded to me by my mechanic, Tony, that the things that we've been working on, the things that we've done this whole offseason, which has been a good offseason, to just do those things and don't get caught up with, you know, just like at the test track, you know, you got guys some days that are faster than you at the test track. Okay, well, let's not worry about them. I don't need to be the fastest guy at the test track every day. I don't need to be the fastest guy at any track every day. I need to be the fastest in the main event on race night. And sometimes not even the fastest, maybe just the smoothest, maybe the most technically sound on the bike. So we kind of went with that approach, and that I feel like has, you know, was what helped, you know, get the season started like it has tonight.
Cool. Jamie Guida.
Jamie Guida, Vital MX. Daxton Bennett, you said something on the podium, basically that you had the belief in yourself and the confidence that you were capable of running the pace with these guys. And after the results tonight and the results of some of the guys that had bad nights, has your mentality towards the season shifted in one night? Do you believe that, hey, I can be a podium contender every guy now and challenge for this championship? Maybe you believed that before.
Yeah, I mean, the way I was riding before, I thought maybe I could if things went my way. So tonight was cool. I mean, I'm pumped on it, and I feel like it lifted some weight off my shoulders to podium my first Supercross. I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, I also know that we have 9 rounds, so it's not just about tonight. We got to be there next weekend too. So yeah, we got 3 weeks off, and we'll go back to work and work on some weakness, and yeah, be ready to go next weekend.
Good job, man.
Brad Gebhardt.
Thanks. Brad Gebhardt, Verb Moto. Let's stick with Dax on this one. Dax, the track got about as rough as it possibly could, even throughout the day. How did your team sort of help you deal with some of that and manage some of that from a bike setup perspective? And also, what did you do about changing your lines throughout the race to adjust to that as well? Yeah,
we changed my bike actually a good bit. We have the same track at the farm, but it's obviously a lot different. This dirt's super sticky, and yeah, I was having a little trouble with my bike, but I got a really good suspension guy, and we fixed it. And we made a change before the heat race, and it was a lot better. Like, I felt pretty uncomfortable, I would say, in qualifying all day. I couldn't get a good lap in, and then heat race, flopped for me. I know I switched that around, and I was really happy with my riding in the heat race and the main event.
Did they have any champagne bottles at the farm for you to practice with, or no?
No, unfortunately not. But now we got one under me, so gotta work on that.
Good thing you had some friends up there with you. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, we got him sorted.
Nick Still.
Yeah, thank you, Nick Still, MotoOnline.com. This will be for Austin. Austin, just going back to what you were talking about a little while ago about the fear. Can you talk about how you control that? And, on race day, you see your teammate go down a Seth Hammaker. Does that make the fear creep back in? Or at the test track, you see one of your riders go down. Does that make it creep back in? Just talk about that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think any rider can attest that I've had days in the past where somebody goes down and gets hurt. We're done. Like, that kills the vibe of the day real quick whenever somebody goes down and gets hurt. It just puts you kind of in that headspace that you don't want to be in when you're trying to do this at this level. That's true whether it be, at the race or in practice. So, but that just goes back to why I've chosen to surround myself with the people that I have surrounded myself with, because you could easily say, oh no, he got hurt. That's that, and let that. Okay, yeah, we need to let's call it. Let's be safe. Or you can say, hey, let's focus on the things that we've been working on and try to, not even say that let's not do that. Let's do these things so that doesn't. Not even that mindset. Hey, you go back out there and you do what you know how to do, and that's kind of that is. Seeing somebody get hurt at the test track in the race, especially a teammate or whatever, is never ideal for sure. But just having good people around you to keep your mental state in the right direction is definitely important. So that's I feel like it's been on point for me this year.
Is that like a reference to what you said on the podium earlier about stopping these people talking, or is that in reference to you being this age and being able to go out there, perform, and obviously win a championship?
That was just I was just kind of saying that because, people are always talking, like just the whole comment about, oh, I'm 25 and I'm a veteran. And, I have other people that, aren't in moto that are like, dude, 25, you're so young. But in moto, that's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily the case. I'm getting paid to ride my dirt bike, and all those people aren't. That's a pretty cool thing, That's a pretty cool thing. So I feel like I was just talking to talk basically when I said that. I don't know.
Great to see you back up here, mate. Thanks.
All right, Brock Bridges.
All right, good job, guys. Daxton, you mentioned earlier, first Supercross, first podium. Based on the research I did from the end of the 450 main to the start of this press conference, I think you're the first guy to do that since 2014, Adam Cincerillo. It even took the guy sitting next to you 4 races to get on the podium, and the guy sitting 2 down from you maybe a tad bit longer than that. So just a huge, accomplishment there. But I think that you might be the least surprised person sitting up there, as when you're on that blue, that Star Yamaha, that's a podium is what's expected of you, I believe. So I think that you're just answering the call, and congratulations. It seems to be like you're the first guy to do that in 10 years.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that, but yeah, that makes me feel pretty good. But our team wants to win pretty bad, so I'll try to do that. And I feel like going back to the test track thing, I was going fast for sure, but that also comes with a high standard race day. I didn't want to be the guy that goes fast and then sucks on race day. So I think, I proved that wrong, so I'm happy with that.
All right, let's go to Jeff.
Jeff Beaver, Whiskey Throttle Media. This question's for Daxton. I asked this question of Brian and Hayden yesterday, and I want to get your take on it. You two both grew up racing 50s together all the way up through your amateur career, and now to be on Star together, how much has that elevated your game, and the two of you being together, do you think that has just skyrocketed your trajectory to where you are sitting right now? How big of a difference do you think that made coming to Star and being there with Aiden?
Yeah, it's cool because, obviously now too, but when we were in 50s and 65s, I never wanted him to beat me. Like, when he beat me, I'd be mad. And I'm sure it was the same for him too. So, and it's the same day. It's like same as now. So it's cool. And we're obviously really good friends off the track. And I hate to see him go down tonight in the first turn. It sucks for sure. But, we get to battle every day at the test track. So that's fun too.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Scott Yarjo, Moto Now blog. Max, can you talk us through the track conditions and how hard it was to race forward, and if you were more content with the second and just clicking off the laps and coming out of here with points?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it was sticky and soft, wasn't it? So a lot of guys were going down everywhere. I mean, like Daxon said, they have this track layout at Star, and I was able to go and ride there a few times with the guys. But it's way more hard pack and kind of different dirt to this, so it might as well have been a different place. So no, happy with just being solid. I think it's one of those where you got to recognise when to push and when not to. And today it was very easy to drag a foot peg and tuck the front somewhere or whatever, especially in the whoops and the ruts. So happy with what we were dealt with and kept it safe and solid on the start. So yeah, happy days.
In your mind, once you got into second, were you like thinking, "Oh, I gotta catch Austin," or you're like, "Let's just keep it on two wheels"?
No, I was Hymas was riding well. Wasn't sure who was behind me, and I was like, right, I need to move around him pretty fast. But he was doing a good job of blocking me in the whoops because I had some speed in the whoops. But every time I went to the left, he'd switch to the left, and I was like, and then I'd switch to the right, and then he'd go to the right. So it took me probably a little longer than what I would have liked to get around Chance, but at the end of the day, he's riding great. I know that bike's really good. It's the HRC bike, and he was pushing a good pace, and I didn't want to do anything silly. I just wasn't sure how much room I had behind me. And like I said, as soon as I got around him, I thought, all right, let's stretch my legs a little bit, but I got caught with a few lappers the wrong way, and honestly, Austin was riding really well. I kind of wanted to go, and then I was like, I'm not going to take the bait and drag a foot peg up some of these rhythm sections, and just kept it solid. He was riding really well. I was just trying to run the same pace and not do anything too silly and avoid the lappers and no more carnage.
Austin, Jim Kimball with Motocross Action. Good job. Congratulations. Let me ask you, obviously things were going well. You took the overall. But is there anything you learned from this first Supercross that you want to change going forward, whether it's bike or conditioning or whatever?
I mean, I think that I could bring the speed in the main up just a hair, maybe. I had good qualifying times, but I think maybe my speed could be a little bit better in the main. I feel like I got a little bit just a little bit of kind of first race jitters, a little bit of starstruck. Oh wow, I'm up here. I got a whole shot. That was a bigger surprise to me than, I've whole shot in the past three years probably. I've whole shot Budds Creek last year. That was about it in the past a while. So to be up there kind of was like, I'm in the lead. I got to get back used to this again. So I wish I probably could have rode a tad bit better, put down a little bit more speed, at least in the beginning of the main. But I wouldn't change a thing about my starts. My bike was handling really good. We got a really good suspension setting and a good motor setting for this year, both. So yeah, not really anything with the bike. Just maybe bring a speed up a little bit in the main.
Jason. Yeah, Jason Weigand from NBC Sports and RacerX. It looked good all day times, and obviously the result, but it didn't look as fast as maybe you were going, which is maybe the opposite, is the way you've been in the past. Is that the goal, to make it look under control even when the lap time's good?
Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely the goal, is to if I can look, that's kind of what Jet does. That's why he's so as good as he is on a dirt bike. Typically when you can go fast and you look like you're not, that's first off, it's hard to do, but second off, it saves energy. You can be, that makes you, a fitter rider if you're in control, that makes you a safer rider. So yes, doing that was definitely, if I can be fast and be smooth, and look like I'm not going fast, but then the time, like that actually happened at the test track a couple weeks ago. I was riding and they were like, and Tony was telling just some of the guys on my team my times, and they were like, that's not right. Like that's not right. Like it just didn't line up with how I looked. So that's a good thing. After that, I was like, okay, we're on the right track then. So yeah, that's definitely a good sign.
Okay. And one other thing, this massive first turn crash. Have you thought about the fact that has been the thing that keeps happening to you? Your teammates ended up down, tons of contenders. Did you reflect at any point saying, hey, finally luck is on my side?
Yeah, I mean, that's literally what I kind of thought just going into the first turn whenever I heard that. And then when I came around, I was like, man, like just what I said earlier, I was just like that. I still have the same, mindset as what I had last year whenever I was the one down and out, is that, maybe that wouldn't have happened if I got a better start. And then now this year, that's proven that didn't happen because I got a better start, And I'm not saying, who knows but that just, when you put yourself in those positions, going into a first turn is hairy, especially like how this one was tonight, how it led and we all pushed out. 90-degree first turns are always tough because everybody just pushes out. So getting out, and the track was pretty tight as well. The stadium floor is just, we're running like 44, 45, 46 lap times. That's pretty short. So that just made it even more crucial. So to knock 2 hole shots out tonight, more than I've done, like I said, in the past 2 years, was definitely almost as good as the win.
All right, I think that's going to do it. Let's give it up one more time. Austin Forkner, Max Anstey, and Daxton Pennick, 250 podium. Thanks again to you, the press, for hanging out. Friends and family, thanks to Detroit for hosting an awesome race. We'll see you at the next round. We'll be in Glendale, Arizona for round 6 next Saturday. Thank you.